We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest event of all time.
Good news for the sport.
Welcome to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. This is episode 19, and we are bringing you some really exciting guests, John. We have Will Coleman and Tamie Smith coming on, two team members from our silver medalists at the World Championships in Petroni. Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty awesome show, and kind of coming into a really busy time here, Rick, because we've got Morven Park this week. We've got Buccalo happening overseas. And then next week, everybody's off on their way up to Maryland. So there's a lot going on. And then I think Kentucky's got Mid-South happening up there. And then as soon as Maryland's over, we're back to Terra Nova. And then Jockey Club's not Jockey Club. I keep calling it Jockey Club. Tryon's not far behind that.
Yep. Yeah, it is. I mean, we're heading up to Maryland. We have, I think, 4 total with Elisa and Briggs. They both have 2 in the 3 long. I'm announcing for the young event horse with Sinead Maynard.
Maynard.
We are going to have fun doing that. That's on Thursday, Friday. So we were hired by Maryland 5's team to do that. Excited to be a part of that announcing team. And then, running back and forth between 4 3-long horses going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be cold. I haven't been up to the new venue. I'm excited to see it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's really cool. You're going to like it.
Yeah.
You said you're going to take your motorcycle. You have to get it, that stupid thing and wear your helmet and all that stuff. But
yeah, I have a helmet. What's the other stupid thing? I have a helmet.
Oh, you can't. I couldn't bring my golf cart, which I understand. It is what it is. So we can only ride our bikes or motorcycles, I think.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm planning to bring mine so I can go back and forth to the house and the whole deal.
Oh, yours is a big baby.
Well, it's a small. It's a TW200. It's a little big fat wheeled dirt bike, but it's kind of cool. It's fun.
Oh, well, good. And Elisa's doing the Mustang demonstration with her Mustang Rune. So everybody, I think that's all being live streamed as well. So
when's that?
That is, I just saw the schedule. She does that on, I want to say Friday.
Oh, cool. I'll come cheer her on. Does she want me to do the wave or get party favors? I can do put signs up.
All the things. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and this is just a great show because, it's so fun talking with Will and Tamie, and Will just has such a, every time I talk to him, he gets more. I mean, of course, he's getting the experience, right? And he just has such a good vision of a lot of things. And it's cool to talk to him about his perspective. So, and then Tamie, has, like everybody else, a lifelong dream that she finally got to represent the United States at a, world championship or obviously the Olympics will be next for her if she wants to make that. So that's pretty cool.
Well, she seems to have the horses coming up behind her for sure. So that is good. Now, when we talk about Will, we're not going to obviously get to it today, but we had him on a while ago and we said we were going to have a drinking competition with the boot. And that still hasn't happened yet, but I just want to make sure that all of our longtime fans and listeners are aware that we do have the boot now. Got, I think, 3 or 4 of them, and that will be coming, but we just thought we probably should wait till the off season. It wouldn't look good if we were all out there slamming beers out of big German boots without, or with big competitions coming, but it is in the works.
That's right. I can't wait.
Yeah, I know you're excited. It'll be fun for sure. Well, what else? What else you got?
Gosh, like I said, we're just excited about, this is our second round up to Maryland for the new venue location, and you're going to love it coming to see it.
I'll try. I'm going to have some time, so I'll try to get some interviews and things while I'm up there.
That's good. And I have a booth for Equibrew. So everybody out there, I'm going to have my booth open for Equibrew, which is a really amazing live probiotic for horses that's making changes in so many horses now across the Southeast and the country. I'm just so happy that people are trying this live probiotic that rejuvenates gut health. And it's not a substitute for maybe other things that you're giving, it does help provide a place for your horse's gut to be calm and sustainable. So I know, John, you use it, and I just wanted to give a plug to Equibrew because it's,
Yeah, no, you should give it a plug. It's a great product. I do use it. So, I mean, I have all of my horses on it, and they all eat great now, which they didn't all eat great. Profit was very finicky and difficult. And if that's all it did, that would be enough for me. But also, they seem to be better in their stomachs. Their backs are not quite so tight. They're just generally a little bit happier and pleasant to deal with. So it is good product for sure. While we're giving plugs, I want to also just remind everybody, which we'll do again later, hopefully if I remember, that if you're going to help support the show, the best thing you guys can do is subscribe to us on your podcast players, subscribe to us on YouTube. And the other thing that's really important, Rick, which I don't know if you are aware, is people have to comment on YouTube with the algorithm there. If you comment and then we comment back, it gets a discussion going, and then that sort of bumps it up so it gets out there more. And give us a good rating, really any rating, but if you're going to give us a bad rating, maybe just don't rate us. Give us a good rating on the podcast players.
What we should do is, people listening, that if you do a reply on YouTube, we should give a code word right now, and whoever gives that will send a t-shirt.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's do a code word.
You know what the code word will be? Let's make it something really clever.
Okay, and it's going to be the first person to do it. What is it?
T-shirt.
T-shirt. T with a hyphen. S-H.
You got to have a little dash in there. So it's T-shirt. Whoever does that, you get a free T-shirt.
There you go.
Then we'll know if you guys actually listen. So good luck.
And that's only on YouTube, commenting. So yeah, Facebook would love commenting too, but we'll do that one next time.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, listen, let's get to it. Let's take a break, and we're going to get right to Will Coleman. He'll be joining us. I think we've got him from up in Virginia. He's up there. So
yeah, before we leave, make sure Jen in your background, that's beautiful, waves to our people.
Jen, give everybody a wave. There she is.
Thank you. All right, very good.
Brains behind the operation. All right, we will be right back after these messages. Want to advertise on the John and Rick Show? Contact John at 352-875-8622
or call Rick at 850-879-2649.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
I'm Gabby Ruane, and I run Ruane Eventing. I run my program out of Reddick, Florida. I start off in the morning bringing the horses in, feeding, and then tacking up and riding pretty much all day. It's always a busy day here with multiple horses in training. When Mufasa first arrived, he was quite sensitive and reactive as a young horse. I decided to start him on Stress Less. I've tried quite a few other supplements and I felt like they all dulled him. Stress Less was the first supplement that really let me get through his tough moments, but I felt like he could still keep that spark that made him special. Stress Less helps keep Mufasa calm but responsive even through his tough moments. When Mufasa first arrived, he was quite reactive and sensitive, and I needed something to help me get him through those tough moments. Mufasa began his career as an event horse last year, and this year I hope to move him up to the preliminary level and then end the year with a 2-star long. I'm Gabby Ruane, and I would recommend Stress Less to anyone who wants their horse more focused and rideable overall.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we are in our Stress Less segment with one of the coolest, least stressed out people I know, Mr. Will Coleman, right back from Pratoni. Will, where you had an amazing performance and really led the way for the U.S. team with 3 great phases. So congratulations and welcome home.
Thanks very much. Yeah, it's good to be home. Although I'm actually not home. in Virginia right now. But it's good to be back in U.S. territory. If nothing else.
Well, and Virginia's basically home. I mean, you grew up there, right?
That's true, but my family's not here. And, I was home for about a week, and then we're up here now for 2 weeks of some eventing, and then I'll be home for good. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. And so are you getting ready for Morven this week?
Yes, we've got some horses at Morven, and then obviously Maryland the following week. So it's a big 2 weeks, but sort of the kind of the culmination of the season. So it's an exciting 2 weeks.
Awesome. Rick, what you got?
Hey, Will, thanks for being on the show. What a great job you did, and the whole team. How does it feel to get that done and be home and just go, wow, we did it. We got the silver medal.
Well, obviously, it's great. You know, we were all thrilled to, I think, finally accomplish a podium finish at a major championship. Obviously, it's a huge deal, and I really couldn't be prouder of everybody involved. Certainly my teammates and everybody there who rode for the U.S., Ariel included. I just thought it was a great team effort, and really the whole, even the support staff and just everybody, grooms, owners. I thought it was just a really great community of people throughout the week, and it was enjoyable. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, everybody we've talked to has said the same thing. And I think the team building and everything that got done with everybody, Max and Bobby Costello.
And we lost Rick. He just dropped off. So we're just going to continue this on without him because the show must go on. Sorry, man.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah. Hey, Rick, see you later. We'll catch you. We'll catch him in a minute. So just going back sort of to the competition, you had obviously a pretty great dressage test, Will, on a 26. And I mean, just the level of competition there on a 26.4, putting you, where were you after dressage here? Hold on, I got it. You'd know better than me. Why am I missing it? There it is. I hit the wrong button. So your 26.4 puts you in what, 18th place after dressage? Is that right?
Your guess is as good as mine.
It's not a guess. I'm telling you, it did it.
I can't. Well, sure. Then I guess it was. I don't remember. At that point, once my dressage test was finished, there was not a whole lot I could do to play.
Right. Yeah, you're kind of committed at that point.
Yeah, and you're just focused on the cross country and just trying to. I was going to be the first guy out for our squad, and I really wanted to bring home a good result for everyone. So it's good information. So once I took that black saddle off, I stopped thinking about dressage altogether.
Yeah, fair enough. So the point though is you had a good score, good mark, and obviously all those riders near the top, you guys were all crammed in there really tight. So I'm sure you knew that 2 clear jumping rounds are going to put you in good position. You go out, you take a look at that cross country course. What were your thoughts on the track?
I thought it was a fairly intense course. Sort of had a real European sort of Aachen type feel to it, but with the added sort of element of some difficult and challenging terrain and camber.
So what do you mean? Just explain that to everybody here in the States. When you say it felt like an Aachen type course, what does that mean to you?
It was just, lots of combinations. There were lots of jumps, not a lot of like open stretches where you could really make up any time. You sort of had to be extremely efficient and committed to staying on your minutes or being even a little up on your minutes if you were going to have any chance of being a double clear. And just sort of the relentless nature of that, you sort of, Aachen has been described to me as 7 minutes with a gun to your head. And this was 10 minutes sort of like that. And but I thought it was a clever course. It definitely created a sport for a world championships. And, I thought Giuseppe was able to create something that was influential, even though it might not have been the biggest and most imposing track compared to like our typical 5-stars. That's not really what championships are now. They're a little different, and they present their own challenges. And I think he accomplished that in what he set out for the WEG at Bertoni.
Right. And I want to get into that maybe in the next segment if we, as long as service holds up here. So one more question, then I'll turn it back to you, Rick. So you ended up, Will, going out there and you had an awesome round, 0.8 time penalties. So when you crossed that finish and you checked your watch, does that match up with what you had? Was 0.8?
That's what I had. I knew I took my horse there in very good condition. I think we did an excellent job getting him ready. And at the same time, off the record is not a very blood horse. And while he's very fast at the short formats, he's struggled at the 5-star longs to really make the time. So, the terrain at Bertoni was bound to be influential, and I just really wanted to bring him home clear first and foremost, and then just as fast as I possibly could be. I thought we had a great plan for the track. Ian Stark was instrumental, I think, in helping us formulate a good plan for the course. And I just really knew I was going to have to be hyper efficient everywhere if I was going to have any chance of getting close to the time with him. And I think we did that. I thought we took great lines. I thought I used the horse well, and just kind of, I really was very, very proud of how he ran, and couldn't be prouder of him and the effort he gave me on the Saturday there. He was Timmy was just, he was fabulous.
Excellent. Rick.
Yeah, I mean, he was fabulous, and you did such a great job.
We lost him again. So what he was going to say was he was awesome, and you went into your show jumping round,
Thanks,
Will.
Rick.
And it was a huge show jump course. You could tell it just from watching it on the TV. Yeah. So in about a minute and a half, take us through sort of your feelings of walking around that show jump course. And then what were you thinking as you jumped that round and as you finished it?
Well, I mean, I knew it was going to be an influential day Saturday night. I went down there to the show jumping. It was Saturday evening. We were kind of just finishing up, looking at horses and making sure Timmy and everybody looked good. And I was kind of bored, and I just wandered down to the show jumping to see if he had laid anything out yet. And they were setting it up. And even from the stands, just looking at it, you were like, okay, like this is pretty serious. And when we walked it, it was just it was a real show jumping course. I mean, it was technical. I thought it was brilliant track. But then he had, light planks on flat cups, and, just the way he had used fill, and he had built a real show jumping course, and it really made you think. And I thought it was amazing, and a real championship test. So, off the record's a good jumper, but I wouldn't call him like an amazing show jumper. And on the third day of 3-day events, we've often had a rail. And, I think my only thought process was just to go in there. I had a good plan for the course. I sent the course to my show jumping coach, Brian Murphy, and he had watched the first 5 or 6 horses, and then I called him and we had a quick chat, and kind of settled on a good plan for Timmy. And when you're going into a big environment like that, you're just thinking, okay, I just want to come in here and execute my plan like I do. The course we ever jumped, and we're fortunate enough to keep all the rails up. But we worked hard on Timmy show jumping through the summer. I did do a lot of, I put in a lot of time at WEC and different places to try to get him a little more comfortable in the arena. I do
We're breaking up here, Will. I tell you what, Will, we're just losing you a little bit. Just pause a second. We're going to see if we can get you a little better service. We got to take a break here, and then we're going to come right back as long as service holds up. So thank you to Stress Less for sponsoring this segment. You can see me. I can see you. But the audio is getting a little digitally. So we're just going to take a moment here, take a pause. Thank you, Stress Less. I'm totally calm because I'm, a big stress less person. And we're going to be right back with Mr. Will Coleman in a moment.
I'm Gabby Ruane, and I run Ruane Eventing. I run my program out of Reddick, Florida. I start off in the morning bringing the horses in, feeding, and then tacking up and riding pretty much all day. It's always a busy day here with multiple horses in training. When Mufasa first arrived, he was quite sensitive and reactive as a young horse. I decided to start him on Stress Less. I've tried quite a few other supplements and I felt like they all dulled him. Stress Less was the first supplement that really let me get through his tough moments, but I felt like he could still keep that spark that made him special. Stress Less helps keep Mufasa calm but responsive even through his tough moments. When Mufasa first arrived, he was quite reactive and sensitive, and I needed something to help me get him through those tough moments. Mufasa began his career as an event horse last year, and this year I hope to move him up to the preliminary level and then end the year with a 2-star long. I'm Gabby Ruane, and I would recommend Stress Less to anyone who wants to.
Hi, my name's Leslie Law, and we are a proud supporter of Jump for Joy. We've been using their portable cross-country jumps now for about 10 to 15 years. We love these jumps because, as you can see, they're very easy to move. It would only take another person on the other side and I could place this fence wherever I wanted to very easily.
Rick Wallace here, bringing you Equibrew, a live probiotic that is geared to help your horse's gut health. I'm a true believer in this Equibrew, and it really makes a difference in all of my horses. Equibrew is safe, non-toxic, and clean sport compliant for FEI and racing events. Equibrew is an intact fermentation product with very high numbers of beneficial microbes. Order at equibrew.com or 850-879-2649. Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are still being joined by Will Coleman off his fresh trip to the World Championships, where they came home with the silver medal. Hey, Will, tell us now, in the third day, we're talking about, show jumping and all the hard work you put in for it. What exactly were you thinking when you stepped into that ring? There's a lot riding on all of y'all, but did you push that off and just go in and do your job?
Yeah, I think so. You're really just focusing on your horse and, trying to get him into the arena confident and in a good, mental state so that your communication's clear and you can execute your plan for the track. I think you're not really thinking about those moments. At least me, I'm just focused on that. Try to, sort of put the rest of it out of your mind, because the best way to help the rest of it is just by focusing on what you do and trying to be a good rider for your horse.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? Well, obviously a lot of people that can't contain it, and we had 5 people that had to go in there and really do that. And I think a lot of people don't realize it is a mental game. When you're on a horse, you're transmitting a lot of different energies into that horse. So kudos for you. You had a really great show jump round, and it made it exciting for the next teammate to come into the ring. So it was well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I was really proud of him, and I think what I've always said about off the record is what he lacks in sort of raw talent and ability sort of makes up for it, and effort and sort of a fighter's mentality. And they really dug in on that third day there, and and just I know he gave me everything he had, and that's all you can ask for.
No, definitely. So, you know, we've talked to other people about the numbers bouncing around for team total points. I mean, were you able to calculate in your head as each rider went in and into the ring, or I know somebody else is doing that for y'all? It was getting down to all kinds of different things happening. Were you able to keep track at all by yourself, or were you just looking over to somebody to say, where are we?
No, I was definitely not able to keep track of those numbers myself. And we had Christina and Gemma and some of the great USCF support staff, you know, keeping Bobby and everybody very informed as to where we were in terms of, you know, podium or medal finish or whatever it is. I think more than anything, you're just watching your teammates. You're trying to, you know, just be there, be supportive, and you know, trusting them to do their job. They're all highly capable and accomplished riders, and you know, I think you're in kind of wait and see mode, and you're sort of ready to accept whatever happens.
So, Will, you said you're in Virginia. So, where's Off the Record? Has he made it back to Florida? Is he up with you?
He is in Florida. He's currently in a big field with no shoes on. He's probably gained about 100 pounds since he's gotten home. But he's enjoying a well-deserved holiday. And I think we'll give him, you know, a couple more weeks of enjoying his field, and then we'll probably gradually tick him over into our sort of off-season program. But his body does best when he's not totally left alone for too long. So he'll do some light work and some different sort of exercises over the course of the fall and winter, just to kind of stay in some degree of shape. And but he's enjoying
enjoying his vacation.
Exactly.
So just wanted to get your thoughts on this a little bit, because it's something that Rick and I have talked about, and we talked a little bit about it on this show, and you sort of mentioned it in the first segment. So you've got Off the Record and, you know, Chin Tonic and Don Dante. You've got all these great horses. And there is a difference now between a horse that you really want for a 5-star and a horse that you want for a team competition. So rather than getting into like, what are you planning for these horses? I think really the question that I'd be interested in your thoughts on is, do you think that's right? Do you think that the team competitions for the sport should be that cross country at the 4-star level? And if it is, then what does that really say about the 5-star events, and do they still have a place in the sport?
Well, for me, the 5-star is still what the sport is all about. You know, I think that's the true pinnacle of eventing. And I think it's most important that we maintain the 5-star level as being truly 5-star. I think for the championships, I think you can argue that the championships have been going in a different direction than true 5-star eventing for the last 20 years, regardless of whether or not they were called a 4-star or 5-star. But I think basically Sydney was probably the last Olympics that you would call a bona fide maybe 5-star. And even that probably was slightly below 5-star in terms of maybe some of the options that were made available to riders from, you know, countries that may not be as established in event. So I think that the dichotomy is okay. I think because I think it's sort of already happened. And what I'd hate to see is 5-star eventing become more diluted or you know, have be softened to a degree. I think it's important to maintain the highest level of the sport in terms of that. And the Olympics and the championships, which are very, very high profile, can still be very compelling. They can still identify the best horses and riders in the sport, but they may be horses and riders or maybe more horses that have a slightly different skill set than your 5-star horse. But what you also see now are these ultra rare, ultra talented horses that are both. London 52, Chipmunk. Those are two examples of horses that have won both championship level and 5-star level. And I think it just makes you appreciate how rare those types of horses are. But I think for many years, most top riders, I would say, have sort of horses that they have in mind for championships and horses that they have in mind for the big true 5-stars. And, I think that's okay.
Right. No, I mean, I think that's the question, right? Rick, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Will and the length and time that this has been going on. And I think 5-stars have a place. I think they are what really makes our sport, what it is. And I think the championships have come to a place where it's going to rest. And probably we're all going to have to create that and do what we can. And if you're lucky enough to have a type horse that can be a 5-star horse and a championship horse, which is rare, that's going to be great. If not, then you're going to be, forecasting what you want to do and how you want to do it. And, that's how it's going to end up being.
Yeah, I guess my last question on this, Will, is like, so you have sports that go to the Olympics like basketball and soccer to us, football to the rest of the world, tennis, where it's almost not as big a deal to those guys. Like they know who won Wimbledon and who won, the Masters and who won the NBA finals. I remember a couple of years ago, the Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA finals. And the next day after game 6, the guys got on the plane and flew over to Tokyo to go to the Olympics. And I remember it sort of hit me like, well, what if it had gone to game 7? They would have missed the first part of the Olympics and they wouldn't have cared. And so
Right.
I guess the question is the sport of eventing, and maybe it doesn't need to be, is it big enough to be both things? I guess that's really my question. Like, I love the 5-stars, but my question really to you is, do you think the sport of eventing worldwide, not in America, but worldwide, is big enough that we can say, yeah, winning Burley is a huge deal, winning badminton is a big deal, winning Maryland, whatever, and equally on a different plane, winning the world championships or the silver medal at the championships is also a big deal? Like, is the sport big enough? I don't know.
Well, I think the sport would certainly not continue to grow in the same way if there were no Olympics, if there were no world championships. I think when you saw 90 horses and riders entered to compete at the World Championship in Pretonia, I thought that was a very impressive number. And I think overall, the quality and the level of competency displayed at Pretonia was, I think, pretty impressive. And I think the Olympics are always going to be a huge draw for anybody in horse sport, and eventing is no different. And I think we stand to gain more by remaining in the Olympics than we stand to lose, by only having 5-stars. I think what we do hope is that your competitive pool of 5-star horses and riders is potentially increased by your championships sort of continuing to raise the level of riding and horsemanship. And I think you are seeing that to a degree, and it may be a few years before it all plays out. But compared to where I think eventing was in an Olympic and world championship level, even 10 to 20 years ago, and where it is now, I think you've seen an impressive jump in overall talent, but just competency, ability, knowledge. I mean, I do think that kind of thing is on the up, and I think that the sport is continuing to evolve. I think the 5-star level is in a really good place. What 5-star is right now, I think is really solid, and I think it's challenging. I think it's becoming more and more sort of geared around correct training and good horsemanship and good riding. And I think those are great attributes that are on display now in 5-star eventing. And the course designers currently at that level I think are doing a fantastic job. And I think what you're seeing is they're also able to create compelling championships, even though it's technically a level below 5-star. So I still think that in so many ways the sport is in a good place. And I think this sort of duality that exists, I think it can serve the sport well if it's looked at in the right way. And for me, I would not be looking to only have 5-star, only have championships. I think we would lose something from the loss of each,
Right. Well, it's some really good thoughts in it, and I appreciate it. And we could go on about this, and I would love to. We'll have to have you back again.
We'll do it.
We always appreciate you coming on, and it's really fun. We have you come on after such a great performance. So good luck at Morven. I will see you at Maryland, and maybe we can continue discussing this there. So Will, congratulations, and we'll see you soon, man.
See you
anytime, guys. Always a pleasure.
All right. And we will be right back with your teammate, Will, Tamie Smith, right after this.
Jump for Joy fences are easy to move, lightweight, durable, and low maintenance. So we're out here on the cross country. We just finished over in the show jumping over the Jump for Joy fences. Had a great time schooling over them. They're really nice and easy to move, so we were able to adjust some things and really have the exact school that we needed thanks to the Jump for Joy fences. I love them.
Order yours at jumpforjoyusa.com.
When it comes time to compete, I demand the best out of my horses and myself. That's why Elemental Fit Lab, the home of CrossFit antics, is my home gym. Coach Vilma and her team create a fun, welcoming environment for athletes of all levels. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, Elemental Fit Lab will guide you towards a stronger, healthier version of you. Mention the John and Rick Show to get 3 free personal training sessions with enrollment.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are joined now by the one, the only Tamie Smith. She's back from a great trip in which we are all just jumping up and down. Tamie, John and I couldn't contain ourselves just the whole time. So congratulations, number one. I wore my lucky hat, which I don't have on right now because I just wear it for you now with your Tamie Smith on it. I had that thing on at 4 a.m. just for you. So tell us about everything. Tell us about everything.
I'm really glad it's over. And I'm really glad we had the result we did.
Yeah, you did great. Let's start with your day in the first day. You're in the dressage ring, you're going. I mean, you were going for it, right?
Yeah, I went a little too much for it. Actually, Lexus was feeling unbelievable all week, and I cantered down the center line and he felt great. And then I made my turn for the extended trot. And he actually, if you've followed this horse, he has a very poor extended trot. And I think he just knew he was at the place where he needed to have one, because he gave me like 5 steps of like, holy crap, where did that come from? And then we broke to canter. But well, whatever,
that was the only thing you did wrong. Everything else was beautiful.
For sure. And I think the judges held it against me a bit because they were pretty stingy. You know, a couple more movements through my trot.
If you want, Tamie, we'll get Peter Gray on the show with you next time, and you can.
I would love that.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but keep going.
Anyway, so but he was so beautiful and such amazing self-carriage. His canter work was unreal. I was really pleased with him. Somebody asked, like, what did you think when you broke? And I'm like, I just thought, now I have to get 9s. So you just keep riding for every point you can get. But he was fantastic. I was finally glad to not be doing dressage. But the cross country, I gotta say, was pretty intense. My heart was racing that morning watching all these people come flying down the slide of death. It was unbelievable.
So Tamie, was that going into it, like in the days leading up to cross country, was that the question that you were most concerned about was that slide down to those skinnies?
Yeah, the terrain was pretty significant. So it was like, if you were going to go for it, were you going to have enough force at the end? Because the hills were very steep. And straight out of the box, you went straight up a mountain, and then you went straight down a cliff, and then you went up a mountain again, and then really steep mountain. And so it was, then you're like galloping on the side of a mountain where there's like no flat ground. Like, I think they called it camber, which
Off camber.
I'm like,
yeah,
that's just the side of a hill. So it was pretty wild. But I know, like, Giuseppe, I think he did such a great job for where our sport is going. You know, there were significant amount of people, very big names, that weren't happy with the course. But, you know, we're trying to keep our sport in the Olympic Games, and the head of the IOC, and the president of the FEI was there, and they had a fabulous time, which was really good. And I think had the cross country been in a very big open area, which they could have done, I don't think they could foresee, you know, keeping that in a small space, which is what they needed to do. So I think he probably had an idea of the big picture. And yeah, it's not really a course that you would have wanted to go around. It was hard. It was exhausting. It was relentless. And, you know, you didn't know how your horses were going to read some things. And if you made the time, you had to take chances. So you know, but it was a championship course. And so I thought, you know, I can sit here and say that now that I went double clear there, but I thought that, you know, it was a really good test. Hard on the horses, though, I think. Physically.
Yeah, Tamie, I remember in an interview prior to going cross country after your dressage, you said I don't know if you said the course is suited for him, or if it was the footing that was suited for him. Because I kind of watched, and when I watched the footing, it kind of reminded me of California.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, well, if that horse, if anything, he's going to be comfortable on that footing. And it was, I mean, and you made time. So in my mind, I know it was super hard, and I know it was very long, but in my mind, when you finished, I was like, she probably was really happy that footing was there.
Well, it actually didn't really matter because I lost both of my front shoes by minute 5. I was glad that it was dirt underneath the grass, because I don't think he could have finished. I mean, I could tell something wasn't right. And it wasn't because he didn't want to gallop. I just could tell, like, and I thought, oh, the course is just beating him up, because they were like jumping and turning and sprinting and jumping and turning, you know, and the turns were like 90 degrees, you know, you were galloping on the side of a mountain, had to really slow him down, then make the turn, and then, you know, sprint along the side of all that camber. So it was very
Tamie,
bizarre.
just clarify that for 1 second. So you say you're just glad it was dirt underneath the grass. And for a guy from the Midwest, I would say there's always dirt under the grass, because that's what grass grows in. So what do you mean?
Well, so when you look at it from afar, it looks like grass, but it was more like a dressing on top of dirt, basically.
Okay, so like, so I was told it was like volcanic sand.
Yeah,
almost.
I don't know why they called it that. I mean, it was just dark brown dirt. It wasn't like and it was dusty, and that's just how California is. Right. It's dusty. I mean, I was like, where are the water trucks? Like, come on, you guys. I mean, we were supposed to get a lot of rain a couple days leading up to the cross country, and we never did. It basically went around the venue. So, but the ground, like underneath, it was hard, oddly hard, but hollow, but like held together. Like when you galloped on it, you could feel like a hollow sound, if that makes sense.
So I kind of feel like you and I are a bit like kindred spirits. And I have a feeling, I know that, like me, you have gone to events and the organizers have with no uncertain terms told you, wow, we're really sorry that you're here, because you tell it like it is. So did you have any complaints about the ground going in, or were you okay with it?
No, yeah. I mean, they could have done a significant amount more. I think the ground preparation, for me, if they could have watered those tracks, it could have been unbelievable. It was not the preparation of the ground was not prepared to world championship standards by any means. And that was a bit disappointing, but the grass in the jump ring was beautiful. And that was a beautiful grass ring. But these countries are left with the budget that they're left with. So I'm sure there's more to it than, what we are looking at from the outside looking in.
So you behaved, is what you're saying, and you were polite and like a nice American.
I don't complain about footing after going to Buccolo and like England. I don't complain about the warm-ups. If there's like a jump that I can maybe jump by myself, I'm happy.
It is shocking when you go to Buccolo and you go into that warm-up. They had, last year I was there, they had 3 jumps on the cross-country track. And then you go to the final one, you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to the final warm-up, and you go in there and it's like
20-meter circle.
It's literally, you can do a 20-meter circle with 1 jump in the center, which means you have a 10-meter half circle to this 1 jump. And I'm like, if I can survive this, I can jump anything that's out there on the course.
Yeah. Well, now they have a full court dressage arena, and that's their only footing arena outside of their main arena, because now they have footing. But last year when we were at Buccolo, I think there were 50 horses in that arena doing dressage. I'm not kidding you. Like, there was like, I won't name any names, but there were like big names cussing out other big names and threatening to punch them in the face. And
okay, hold on. This is brilliant. So I don't mean to take over, Rick, but we do need to take a little bit of a break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to press Tamie for some names. So let's take a break here, Rick.
Yep, let's listen to our sponsors.
Perfect. We'll be right back.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
I'm Gabby Ruane, and I run Ruane Eventing. I run my program out of Reddick, Florida. I start off in the morning bringing the horses in, feeding, and then tacking up and riding pretty much all day. It's always a busy day here with multiple horses in training. When Mufasa first arrived, he was quite sensitive and reactive as a young horse. I decided to start him on Stress Less. I've tried quite a few other supplements and I felt like they all dulled him. Stress Less was the first supplement that really let me get through his tough moments, but I felt like he could still keep that spark that made him special. Stress Less helps keep Mufasa calm but responsive even through his tough moments. When Mufasa first arrived, he was quite reactive and sensitive, and I needed something to help me get him through those tough moments. Mufasa began his career as an event horse last year, and this year I hope to move him up to the preliminary level and then end the year with a 2-star long. I'm Gabby Ruane, and I would recommend Stress Less to anyone who wants their horse more focused and rideable overall.
Rick Wallace here, bringing you Equibrew, a live probiotic that is geared to help your horse's gut health. I'm a true believer in this Equibrew, and it really makes a difference in all of my horses. Equibrew is safe, non-toxic, and clean sport compliant for FEI and racing events. Equibrew is an intact fermentation product with very high numbers of beneficial microbes. Order at equibrew.com or 850-879-2649.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we've convinced Tamie to stick around. And so Tamie, we were just talking, we want to do world game stuff here, but we got a little sidetracked about Bookalo, and you were telling us that somebody got a little upset in the warm up when there were 50 horses in there and they started yelling at you. So give us some names. We want names.
They weren't yelling at me actually. But I'm not kidding you. If you could not put another horse in the ring, and it was shocking how nobody, like, we all were just riding around doing shoulder in and half pass. And I mean, you couldn't fit another horse in the dressage arena, but, I will say who said it, because I remember when he said it, everybody was really proud of him, because I guess he kind of gets bullied, and he's a super nice, really nice guy. And
this is gonna be good.
So he's like me and Rick.
He completely lost his, you know what, on a German, and I'm not going to say her name, but that will give you. But it was Jesse Campbell from New Zealand. And
Ooh.
yeah, and he is, I guess, I mean, I know Jesse pretty well, and he's always been very nice, but Eric Devander was like, I'm really proud of him for doing that, because he did get cut off like multiple times, to the point where his horse was
getting upset.
But I'm like, you are in a ring with 50 horses in a dressage court.
But sometimes you got to stand up for yourself. Good for you, Jesse. We're proud of you.
He did.
Yeah.
He was going to punch her in the face. I thought it was awesome.
Awesome. Rick, why don't you get Tamie to take us through her show jump round?
I will, but before we do that, real quick, that was 2021 Bookalo that we were talking about, correct?
Yeah.
And then just
no, it was 2020 or 2019.
A while ago.
It was the year I had my bomb there.
That must have been 2019, because I don't think we had 2020 because
right. I think you're right. Yeah.
So 2022 Bookalo starts on Wednesday. So as we go back to the World Championships and your nail biting show jump round, you know, I know you just have a lot of things in your head that you want to have maybe do differently, but let me tell you, still the pressure was on. You went in the ring, and I heard it was 1.30 meters everywhere. There was nothing less than that. So tell us about your round.
Yeah. You know, I think the horses that were older, you know, the cross country, they were feeling it. And I actually am very proud of how I rode, and I'm very proud of Lexus. Like, he gave me everything. My rails were very unlucky. Like, I had a beautiful round, and I rode him the best I could ride him, but it was unfortunate. I have to be honest. Like, I thought it was a pretty unfair show jumping track for our eventing horses. The first rail he had was this white oxer, and there was a false ground line. So there were bushes in front, like behind the white rails. And that was really spooky. And the horses were reading it. That was where London 52 had his rail. I think it's where Toledo, the cursor, had his potentially. So to me, that's like not an eventing show jumping jump, you know, but the horses that jumped fantastic were, I mean, Ariel Girl's horse and Coleman's horse jumped out of their skin. But the older ones, you know, I think that those ones were feeling it a little bit. And that's what I think you saw. And it was a long course. We had 3 combinations in the course. It was long. And I had the second to the last down. He barely touched it, but you know what? That's the sport. I mean, I could have easily been the world champion. I was in 3rd place going in, and, you know, I mean, Yasmin could have easily had 2 down, you know. It was that kind of day. And I wouldn't change anything. I mean, I could have changed, maybe trying to rewind the clock and keeping his shoes on. I'm sure that maybe had something to do with it. But what do? You know, I had the first rail, and I was like, I got to stick to my plan. Before I went into the show jumping ring, Scott Keach was there with me, and we went over the plan. had a good plan. And then Bobby said, make sure you make the time, because a time fault could make a difference. And I was like, okay, got you. And I had that first one down, and I was like, I got to make the time. I got to stay on my plan. Like, don't let that phase you. And I stuck to my plan. And luckily I didn't have a time fault, because if I had a time fault, we would have been to bronze. So,
so good job you, and good job Bobby for that advice right before
Bobby
you go in.
was awesome. He's like, don't have a time fault. It could make the difference. And it would have. He was 100% right. So he put that in my head. And I mean, I thought it was brilliant that he said that, because silver is much better than bronze.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, I agree with you, Tammy. I watched you go around, and I didn't think he took a foot wrong, and it was getting the older horses, and obviously Chipmunk, coming in and having 2 rails was shocking, I'm sure, for Michael. But when you were done, and I know we've gotten this from everybody, I mean, there's calculations going on everywhere, right? I mean, by the time, did y'all? And I asked Will Coleman this. I was like, did you know where you were when the last horse jumped?
I had no clue.
The answer was no, right? Everybody
No,
was calculating.
Yeah.
So how nerve-wracking was that as you were watching all that happen?
Well, I was at the end. So watching, like, I got to watch Will on the big screen show jump while I was in the warm-up, and then I got to watch Ariel in person. Like, I was at the ring, and I was able to be there and watch her, and that was awesome. I didn't get to watch Boyd, so I had no clue how Boyd did before I went in. I was just in my zone and focused. I had no clue that Ollie had 4 down. I had no clue. My job was to go in and produce a clear round, so when I came out, the first thing I literally probably looked like, completely disappointed. I was trying to, keep a smile on my face, because I was very happy with my horse. And, what an honor to be there and represent our country. I mean, I've been going after this for my whole life, I feel like. And so, you're trying to think about all the really amazing moments and times, and we had a great team. And so I was trying to just keep myself from being disappointed. And the first person I saw was Scott, and he said, "You rode brilliant," which, if anybody knows Scott Keach, he doesn't say that really ever. And he certainly doesn't say it unless it's true. So when I got his nod of approval, I went, yeah, I know I did. I rode good, and I couldn't have done anything different. And then I hopped off my horse, and then Kiefer was like, "We got the silver medal." And I'm like, "We did?"
How do we do that?
And they're like, "Ollie had 4 down." I'm like, "What?" No wonder he tried to clothesline me when I was coming out of the arena.
Wow. Well, and I think you said it best, Tammy. You've been working. I've known you for a while. You've been working hard at this, and you've been putting in the hours and the miles, and you've got a family that's been sticking by you. I'm proud of you. So,
yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Well done.
So what's coming up now? We have like about a minute and a half left here, Tammy. You're in Pennsylvania, living in a car, kind of. So what are you doing? You got something at Morven?
Yeah, I have my California horse and Elliot in the 4 long, and then I have 2 young horses in the 2 short. And then I have Danito at Maryland 5-star the week after. So we're in the home stretch. So trying to stay focused and not see the light at the end of the tunnel of blue sunny skies at home right now.
Right.
Hey,
so
with that being said, I do have a question though, Tammy, because I think John tried to reach you and you promised your husband nothing after the world champion. Did y'all go enjoy yourself for at least a couple
it was
days?
incredible. It was incredible. Yeah, we went into Rome. Actually, Ellen and Eric, the owners of My Bomb, and Alex, they like treated us to a couple days in Rome, and we went on this like golf cart tour, and it was really incredible. Him and I haven't done anything together that hasn't been horse related in way too long. So it was really great. It was really awesome.
So you did that in Italy, and I'm sure after Maryland, you're going to go for 2 days to tour around Maryland, right?
I'm going to go home. I'm going to go home as fast as I can. And I'm going to sleep in my own bed because I haven't been in it pretty much all year. So, and then yes, November, I'm going to do something. I think I have a horse show the week after Maryland. When I get home, I have a horse show. And then I have Galway Downs.
Right.
So
It's
not over.
You got to support Galway Downs. Absolutely. Robert does a great job out there.
He is eventing's best, most unbelievable, enthusiastic fan. He went all the way to Bertoni.
Wow. That's
He
incredible.
was there, and like, he's incredible.
Well, Tamie, you're incredible. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for winning the silver medal, because we all appreciate it. And you're going to always be the world champion to me. So don't worry about those rails. You were awesome. You were great. You made all of us so proud. So thank you. And we're going to see you.
We're going to see you at Maryland.
Yes.
We're
On
looking
the
forward
judo
to it.
puff.
All right.
He's only 15 hands. I'm kind of scared.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. All right. Listen, thank you everyone for watching the show. We really appreciate it. Let's see. What have we got, Rick? We've gotten 4 of the 5 WEG people on. Is that right?
Yeah, we've gotten,
no, we still have Lauren and Boyd to get on.
And then we've gotten Bobby and Max. So
yeah. So all right, we've almost got everybody. So that's cool. So we're going to get everybody. Hopefully we'll get some of those guys for the next show, guys, lots of that. And make sure everybody check us out on your podcast players, on YouTube, on Facebook. Tamie, make sure you subscribe to us, please. We could really use that.
I'm not subscribed.
I don't know, but if you aren't, you need to make sure
stuff like that.
make your
I'm
family do it too. We need all the accounts. All right.
Okay.
All
I'll
right,
do
cool.
it.
We'll talk to you guys next time.
Okay.
Thanks, Tamie.
guys.
We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport.